What's up, guys? As you guys know, we got a big one this weekend. Charles Oliveira is making a very early comeback against Mateusz Gamrot. Now, he was originally scheduled to be fighting Rafael Fiziev. Something happened to Fiziev. I don't know what happened. He got injured, I guess. And Gamrot is filling in. So, as you guys can see on the screen, I think Charles is going to submit Gamrot easily. So, here's why. Number one, Gamrot gives up his neck too much. Now, in the Dan Hooker fight, there were moments where he was getting caught in positions like this, getting put in guillotines. Right here, he kind of panicked and he had to roll to his back to get out of it. The way he shoots takedowns, his neck is right there to be snatched up, especially by somebody as good as Charles Oliveira. So I think that this is a very, very big factor. Like the second that I heard about this fight, the first thing that flashed through my mind was this. Like literally this image right here of Dan Hooker of all people countering Gamrot's wrestling with submission attempts. And I'm like, damn, if Dan Hooker's doing that to you, Charles is going to put you out cold with a submission. Like his guillotines are the best in the UFC. So this is the biggest reason why I'm picking Charles Oliveira. I really recommend that you guys go and watch that Gamrot fight with Dan Hooker because it's pretty evident in all his fights. He's a amazing wrestler. He's going to be looking to wrestle the whole time. He has arguably the best pure wrestling in the division. But against Charles Oliveira, straight up wrestling and shooting, single legs and double legs, terrible idea. Even Arman Sarukian almost got submitted. And I would say Arman is a better grappler than Gamrot. Maybe not as good of a wrestler, but it's very close. And his grappling, I would say, is a lot better than Gamrot's. And that wasn't really evident in their fight because of the wrestling. They couldn't really take each other down and gain too much control. But against Oliveira, I'm sure Gamrot's going to be able to, get a couple takedowns. Dan Hooker was able to get up. Charles Oliveira is going to get up. And number two, the way he shoots takedowns. This ties into what I was talking about earlier. This is actually what I was talking about earlier. I made the slideshow a long time ago, and I forgot the order. The way he shoots takedowns, you can see right here. Give it his neck up. It's right there to be snatched up. If Dan Hooker is putting you in positions like this, oh my God. Charles Oliveira is going to strangle you. Number three, always gives up this front headlock position. So, the way Gamrot shoots, he's going to shoot the takedown. He's a chain wrestler. So if you stuff the first one, he's going to try and shoot again and again and again and again. He chains his wrestling together. And if you have good enough defense, this leaves him in a front headlock position a lot. And Charles Oliveira, like I said, with the guillotines, his Darce chokes, anaconda chokes, any choke from that front headlock position, Charles Oliveira is a fucking master at getting those. And this is just screaming to me. I want to go up on the highest rooftop I can find and just scream, everybody, bet on Charles by submission. Because if Dan Hooker is doing you like this, it is not going to be a good night. I like Gamrot. He's an amazing wrestler. That's the thing. He is going to rely on his wrestling in this matchup. It just leaves too many opportunities. And if you tell me he's going to go out there and wrestle fuck Charles Oliveira for 5 rounds, you're crazy. You're crazy. That's just my opinion. That's what I think. I would say you're crazy. Number 4, his striking is good, but he has no power. Gamrot is a good striker. He is not bad. He gets rocked a lot in his fights. He gets clipped, but he's a decent, not even decent. He's a good striker. He's got good fundamentals. He's never really, doing anything stupid on the feet. You can see him throwing a low kick here. He's got a good jab. He's got good straight punches. He is a good striker. He just has no power. He dropped Dan Hooker. It wasn't like a super bad concussive knockdown. It was like a flash knockdown. Hooker was okay. In the same round, he went on to really hurt Gamrot very bad with a left hook. There's just not a lot of danger. I don't think he can get Charles's respect on the feet. And in this fight, I think it's going to be a battle of who can get the forward pressure going more. And I think Oliveira is going to walk forward. He's going to be taking the strikes on his high guard, which could be a bad thing. We'll get to that. But I just don't think Gamrot could get respect out of him because he has no power. And on the feet, Charles is going to be at a big advantage. He did just get knocked out, but I really don't think Gamrot is going to be the guy to chin him. He doesn't really, you know, I don't think he's the guy to capitalize on Charles's defensive errors. That's just what I think. He's a very simple striker. He's good, but he doesn't do anything really special. And I just don't think he can do enough on the feet to get any respect out of Charles. Number 5, no finishing potential and danger with his grappling. Gamrot is just a smudge grappler. He is not going to take you down, pass into mount, rain down elbows, and finish you. He's not going to, lock up a rear naked choke. You get on your back and get a rear naked choke. He's not going to get an arm triangle. He's not going to go for an arm bar. He doesn't go for submissions. He doesn't have, great ground and pound. He's just going to try and control you. And I think against Charles Oliveira, this is going to leave so many opportunities for Charles to be able to cause a scramble and get up to his feet. I don't think he's going to get controlled. He will get taken down because Gamrot has good wrestling. But when you pile the guillotine threat whenever Gamrot shoots his takedowns and the lack of any danger when he gets the takedowns, I just don't think he can go 5 rounds and control Charles for 5 rounds, which is really his only way to win. Am I going to sit here and say Gamrot is going to win a striking match over 5 rounds? No, it's not happening. I just don't think he can really do much to Charles on the ground. If he takes him down, so what? Charles is not a dead fish on the ground. I mean, Dan Hooker was able to get up. You can keep going back to this Dan Hooker fight. Dan Hooker is just not Charles Oliveira at any level with his grappling at all. And I would say Charles, at this point, he might be a tiny bit better on the feet. Like Dan Hooker against Gamrot, there were some moments where he was looking absolutely dreadful with his striking. This is just, I don't know. The more I talk about it, the more confident I get in Bronx. But number 6, Charles Oliveira has the best guillotine in MMA. Look at this picture. Armand was this close to tapping out. This fucking close. You're telling me that Gamrot, who does nothing but shoot takedowns, will not end up in this position? And if he does end up in this position, is he gonna have the level of grappling to be able to get out of it like Armand was? I don't think so. I just don't think it's gonna happen. When you are facing a guy who has the biggest guillotine threat in MMA, you cannot just shoot takedowns, and that's what Gamrot's gonna do. It's gonna backfire. And leg locks. You can see here against Ilia Topuria in his last fight. Ilia Topuria passed into crucifix for a couple seconds, but like that fast, Charles locks up a leg lock and he gets Ilia to disengage and he gets back up. I think he can use this strategy effectively against Gamrot because if Gamrot doesn't tap, he's going to have a fucked up leg. And if he stays in the submission long enough, he's going to have to tap. So his only option really is to disengage. And then Charles can get back on the feet, get back to his striking. I just don't think there's anything Gamrot can fucking do. Maybe I'm fucking crazy. I've made a whole slideshow about it. But we're going to get into how Gamrot can win. Number 1, don't let Charles get space on the ground. Now, what do I mean by this? I'm going to just move this over a little bit. You see how Charles's head is just crammed against the fence. You can't really be very effective off your back like this. If Charles is going to be effective off his back, he's going to need a little bit more space. He's going to need to be in the center of the octagon, or at least with his head not just crammed against the fence. You can't really do a lot from that position. So Gamrot is going to need to take Charles down, get him to get very cramped against the fence. That will, make it easier to control Charles. It's going to be way harder for Charles to get up or threaten any submissions. And it's going to make it easier for Gamrot to, land some ground and pound. So that is another point. This is how Gamrot can win. Number 2, set up the takedowns. Don't just shoot. This is a gigantic thing that Gamrot needs to be thinking about. If he just shoots naked takedowns with no setup, he's going to get submitted for sure. And I think even if he sets them up, he will get submitted. But like I was talking about earlier, with the high guard, we're just going to go to this slide right here. This is number 4. Charles always has a high guard. Now, going back to here, Gamrot, like I was talking about earlier, He's a good striker. He has good straight punches, especially. He's got a nice jab and a very slick right hand. He has some power with that right hand. He can do some damage. Charles walks forward with that high guard. If Gamrot can, throw some punches, land on the guard, get Charles to bring his hands up like this, the hips are going to be right there. It's going to be so open. And if he can set up his takedowns, Charles might not have an opportunity to grab the guillotine. So this is a very important thing. Gamrot needs to set up the takedowns. Straight punches. This is kind of redundant. Forgive me, guys. I'm not a professional YouTuber. I'm having fun here, but like I said, straight punches are very important. They're going to draw out Charles's high guard, and leave the opening for the takedown. Now, what should their game plans be? For Charles, I say, let me adjust my webcam a little bit. All right, make Gamrot back up. This is important. It's hard to shoot takedowns off the back foot. Gamrot is going to have real success when he's going forward, chaining together his punches with his takedowns, getting Charles to back up and keep his hands up. If Charles is going to have him backing up the whole time, it's going to be very hard to shoot a takedown. And if he does get to shoot a takedown, it's going to be a very shitty one, and it's going to leave the opening for that guillotine. So that brings us to the next point for Charles's game plan. Look for the guillotines. Use leg locks to create space and get back to your feet. So this is a pretty solid game plan. I think I didn't get too specific, but I think this is, a relative idea of what Charles should be doing in this fight. And for Gamrot, set up your takedowns, straight punches. Make Charles use his high guard to get takedowns easier. And I didn't write it, but, get Charles's head pressed against the fence when you do take him down and you're in his guard. So this is what I think their game plan should be. And my official pick, you guys know, Charles by submission. My reasoning, I don't think Gamrot can control Oliveira. I think he gives up his neck too much. He doesn't have enough power to get respect from Charles. And his only advantage in this fight is pure wrestling. Charles is a more powerful striker. I would say he's a little bit better. He mixes things up better in the clinch with his knees. He's better at range. He's got good teep kicks, good calf kicks. Charles is just much better on the feet. He's a much better grappler with his jiu-jitsu. The only advantage Gamrot's really going to have is his pure wrestling. And that is why I'm picking Charles. Let me know, what do you guys think? Are you picking Gamrot? If you're picking Gamrot, please tell me why, because I feel like this is such an obvious and easy pick. And now that I'm thinking about it, because I feel like it's so easy, it's bound to go the other way. Gamrot's going to get a KO. He's going to get a KO win because I made this video. I'm jinxing Charles, but this is what I think of the matchup. I think it's fucking easy. It's so easy to pick, and now that's making me worry because I feel like it's such an obvious outcome that it's bound to not happen. But let me know what you guys think. Hope you enjoyed the video, and goodbye.